Hey guys, welcome back to another Battlefield 6 news video. Today we got some more details to Grand Bazaar, or Cairo Bazaar, how it's called in Battlefield 6. We got a community Q&A that I'm gonna sum up for you because we got some interesting information here about some new features that we can expect to see in the near future and also, well, more towards the end of this year. And we got an interesting update to the anti-cheat of Battlefield 6, but more about that later. Because first of all, we're gonna have a look into this developer map guide of Cairo Bazaar. But I'm not gonna read through the full thing, of course. I'm just gonna sum up the most important points for you, and I'm gonna show you some side-by-side comparisons that we got with this blog post as well. So Cairo Bazaar is the map that we will see next week with the next content drop of Battlefield 6. Here's the roadmap again. So this content drop will be called Blast Point, and I already said Cairo Bazaar will be the new map. We will get the new mode Obliteration, that is basically a mix of rush and capture the flag, and we will get a new event that is called Explosive Charge. We will get a new SMG, the PP-19, a new gadget for the Recon class, the handheld jammer, and two new attachments, the double-aught buckshot and cryogenic barrels. Now for Cairo Bazaar, this was a map that was originally introduced to the Battlefield series in Battlefield 3 as Grand Bazaar, and now it got reimagined for Battlefield 6, which means that similar to Golmud Railway, it got some visual changes, it got some gameplay changes as well, and they basically reworked the full map to fit into Battlefield 6, not only visually but also when it comes to the lore. And they also updated it with more cover, with a different design, a bit of a different look, and it got a new setting because it's now obviously set in Cairo. So I'm gonna show you the side-by-side comparisons here while I'm gonna explain a little bit more of what they changed. So the map will support smaller and larger modes. So Conquest, Breakthrough, Team Deathmatch, and Domination will definitely be available on this map. And especially for TDM and Domination, they have refined the combat area and the combat zone compared to the original map. Typical for Battlefield 6, the map will also have a lot of destruction, but what we will also see here is that there will be certain points that you can open to create new pathways and to basically reduce the load on choke points, but also to add more flanking routes to the map in general. And these shortcuts are new for Battlefield 6 and they were not present in the original Battlefield 3 map. And they also added some more additional cover, especially around bottlenecks and the team's HQs. And of course, they also changed the points of interest that you can see in those side-by-side comparisons here to better reflect the ongoing conflict and the lore of Battlefield 6. And even though it's an infantry-focused map, it will also feature a small amount of vehicles, and it will also be available in the new mode that is dropping next week, which is Obliteration. Moving on, we have the community Q&A that was held yesterday on the official Discord server, and here the devs have answered a lot of questions of the community, especially when it comes to upcoming features and changes. So first of all, what we can expect to see in Season 4, not in Season 3 anymore, but in Season 4, is proximity chat. This will come for both redsec and the Battlefield 6 multiplayer, and depending on the mode, enemies will also be able to hear you or they cannot hear you. So probably in multiplayer they will not be able to hear you and you can only hear your teammates, but in redsec I can imagine that enemies will also be able to hear you, because I think otherwise this wouldn't make any sense. They've also addressed the server browser. This will be coming in Season 5, so still some time away, and it will be tested in Battlefield Labs first to make sure that everything works as intended. But they said that the development on the server browser is going fine. Platoons will also be added to Battlefield 6, but they will be added progressively across several seasons, and this will make it easier for players to play together and to find, well, like-minded players, and you will also be able to represent your platoon. They also talked about leaderboards. These are also scheduled for Season 5 and are built in a similar way to the leaderboards that we got alongside the ranked Battle Royale mode with the start of Season 3. 3. They also talked about the grenade throwback feature that is not in Battlefield 6 yet, but there was in 2042 and also in Battlefield 5. And here the devs are planning to test this in Battlefield Labs to see how it impacts the gameplay loop and how it impacts the efficiency of grenades. So maybe it's coming back. If the tests are positive, maybe not, we will see. They're also improving the matchmaking for both redsec and multiplayer with the goal of having more balanced teams and fairer matches. They're also looking into bringing more operations in future seasons because the reception of Operation Augur was probably pretty good. They're also reworking the 2 maps New Sobek City and Blackwell Fields. This has been announced before already, and they will be testing both of them in labs later this year, but we won't see them launch before Season 5. So right now the target is to release those 2 reworks at some point in Season 5. They're also looking into improving reticle visibility because they know that some optics and some sites can be a bit hard to see and a bit hard to read, especially in certain lighting conditions, and here they're looking into improving this. We can also expect to see further adjustments to weapon recall, bullet spread, random recall variations, and so on. So we can definitely expect to see some more adjustments to gunplay in general, but we will get some more details about this in a deep dive that will be closer to the release of those changes. Then we got 2 news for the vehicles. So first of all, Air Radar is targeted for an upcoming update in Season 3, so not too far away. And jet customization is also coming, but at some point in a future season. There is no date for this yet. What they're also working on is a feature that allows you to clear all markers across all of the menus, and this will be coming in Phase 3 of Season 3, so in roughly 4 weeks. But what we can expect to see next week already with the update on Tuesday is a fix for the constant yellow dots that you see in the menus, and hopefully this will reduce these yellow dots a little bit. And then for redsec, they're looking into fixing the lighting issues because they tried to fix those in the last patch already, but it didn't solve the problem. So now they have some additional fixes coming in the next update, and hopefully this will fully fix the lighting issues, but they will keep monitoring this and will deploy more fixes if necessary. And they're also looking into scoring changes and into gameplay tuning when it comes to Battle Royale Ranked. And lastly, we also got an update to the Battlefield 6 anti-cheat, and this is actually pretty interesting. Normally I wouldn't include this in the news video, or probably not at all, but this is quite interesting because it expands it beyond actual cheating. So what is now punished as well with the anti-cheat is stream sniping, match manipulation, win trading, team sabotage, vehicle spawn blocking, and targeted harassment of streamers and content creators. And to do this, Battlefield 6 uses machine learning systems to detect these offenses by identifying repeated patterns of this behavior. But of course, this is focused on repeated and intentional behavior. So it's not when you block a vehicle spawned by accident, for example, at one single time, but if you do this repeatedly and if the system notices an intentional behavior behind this, then you will get punished for this. And just as I was about to wrap up this video, we got another community update, which is the 2026 roadmap, or an update to the roadmap and to Season 4. And this roadmap update is basically what I already talked about from the Discord Q&A, and then they're also going more into this Discord Q&A, but we already talked about this. So there's nothing really new here. The map improvements, platoon, server browser, and proximity chat, that's what we already talked about. And what is basically new is just this upper part here, where they talk about the 2 new maps that we can expect to see in Season 4, which is Tsuru Reef and Wake Island. So that's what we're gonna have a quick look at before I wrap up this video. So Season 4 marks the arrival of naval warfare in Battlefield 6. We've already seen this in the trailer, and during the season we will get 2 maps, Zura Reef and Wake Island. So another reimagination of a classic Battlefield map with Wake Island. Zura Reef, this is basically the first overview or first screenshot that we're getting from this map. It is built for scale. It's even larger than Railway to Golmud. It is set across a wide ocean front and brings together island terrain, beach assault, open water, and areas designed for infantry combat as well. So we can expect to see a mix of ground, air, and naval vehicles and infantry as well. And then this is what Wake Island will look like in Battlefield 6. I mean, the island doesn't change, so it's always the same, just the design changes a little bit, and also the scale and basically the setting within Battlefield 6. And they're also writing that this specific version of Wake Island is built for naval warfare, so with naval warfare in mind, and the headquarters of the 2 teams will be on the carriers. And then this is the updated roadmap. We've already got a roadmap, I think like 2 months ago, and now this is the updated version. So Season 3 is where we are right now. We already have Railway to Golmud. Next week we will see the arrival of Cairo Bazaar. Battle Royale solos will drop later this season, and we already went over what we can expect next week in terms of weapons, attachments, and so on. Then in July, Season 4 starts. That's when we will see Zura Reef and Wake Island, and we can also expect to see custom lobbies, a spectator mode, and of course new weapons, new modes, and more. And then in Season 5 we will see 3 new maps and a lot of the quality of life stuff and a lot of the features that we talked about before. So proximity chat, platoons, server browser, leaderboards, and so on. And the weapon tuning, combat tuning, matchmaking, and whatever else is quality of life improvements that we can expect to see. And that was it for today. These were all the news that were to cover. I know I'm a little bit late with the news at the moment, but this is simply because we have some stuff going on in the family. You might have heard this on one of my skate videos already if you follow this channel as well, because my grandma is at the ICU for almost a week now. And we're visiting her every day and we're trying to be on her side during this tough time. So that's why, of course, the focus on, well, my work actually is a little bit less than usual. So I hope you don't mind this. And if you still enjoy the videos, even though they might be coming a day or 2 days later, then be sure to drop a like and subscribe. And I'm gonna see you in the next one. I'm the Catwoman and you are awesome.